If you're a real estate investor and are wondering how to raise and leverage private money to make more profit on every deal, then you're in the right place. On Raising Private Money, we'll speak with new and seasoned investors to dissect their deals and extract the best tips and strategies to help you get the money, because the money comes first. Now here's your host, Jay Conner.
What's our question that'll lead into private money? Are you investing in anything these days? You're either going to tell me yes or no or whatever. But let me tell you what I'm doing. You can talk about your real estate investing, and then you can talk about how your private lenders, there's a seed you just dropped, how your private lenders are getting high rates of return from these lucrative real estate deals that you put together.
You're listening to Flip Empire, the show committed to helping real estate entrepreneurs who want to build their empire without sacrificing their life. Your success and freedom starts now with your host, Alex Pardo.
Private money, private money, private money. That is exactly what we're going to be talking about on today's podcast episode, number 761, with my good friend Jay Conner, who is one of the nation's top experts, guys, when it comes to raising private money. And on today's podcast, Jay's going to walk you through his Where to Get the Money Now system. And here's the best part about Jay's system. He teaches you how to do it in a way in which you're never asking for money. You're presenting opportunities. And it's just such a simple step-by-step process to go out there and raise money, regardless if you're just getting started, if you're a seasoned pro and you've done hundreds, if not thousands of deals. Jay's system works. And what's interesting is that, entrepreneurs oftentimes create solutions out of problems. And way back in the day when Jay needed a reliable funding source, the bank he was working with essentially cut him off. And it really kind of like hamstrung his ability to go out and do deals. And that's one of the things that I truly believe is that when you have access to private money, not only does it give you more confidence to be able to do as many deals as you can possibly handle, but it's one of the most valuable skill sets you can have is building relationships, understanding how to communicate with private lenders, structuring deals. It just opens up so many more doors and opportunities to be able to do any type of deal you want, whether it's single family, whether it's self-storage, or any asset class in between. So I'm excited to introduce you to my friend Jay Conner. I believe this is going to be his second time on the podcast. He's a quality individual. He's got a heart to serve and to give and to share all the wisdom, the knowledge, and the resources that he's acquired over the last 20 plus years. Jay's just a stud, and I really think you're going to enjoy this episode. But before we dive into it, I've had people reach out to me asking questions, being curious about self-storage, and I am extremely bullish on the self-storage asset class. It's something I wish I would have discovered years and years ago. And now that I've been in it for almost 4 years, and now I'm having the opportunity to coach people to get them their first storage facility within the next 6 to 12 months, I want to go ahead and extend an invite to you. Head over to storagewins.com. Just take a minute and submit some information so that we can connect on a call, and I can kind of share with you more how that might benefit you based on adding storage and that particular asset class to what you're already doing, or possibly even building a bridge over from residential into storage, especially if you're tired of dealing with toilets and tenants and all the craziness that goes on with the single family residential world. So guys, with that being said, I'm excited to introduce you to Jay Conner. What is going on, my friends? Guys, I am super pumped to have my friend, Mr. Jay Conner, the one and only, join me on the podcast. I want to say this is the second, possibly the third time Jay's been on. He's a dear friend of mine that I met at a high-level mastermind several years ago. And you guys know the feeling when you connect with somebody and you just like, there's just an instant vibe. Like, it's kind of hard to be around Jay, not smile, not feel good. Just such a positive, energetic individual, and somebody that, aside from just being an outstanding human being, just has a tremendous amount of wealth and knowledge when it comes to just real estate in general, entrepreneurship. And Jay is an expert when it comes to raising private money. And guys, what we're going to specifically be talking about on this podcast is how to raise private money without even asking for money, right? So some of you, that is the hook right there, right? Some of you might be thinking, how in the world do I raise capital for my real estate deals without ever asking for money, right? And there's the secret sauce that Jay's going to reveal and talk about. So with that being said, Jay, brother, any introduction I give you is not going to be justice, but it's great to see you. It's great to have you on the Flip Empire Show.
Alex, thank you so much for inviting me to come join you here on the show, my Lance. I'm so excited and passionate to talk about private money because that one strategy of attracting funding for your real estate deals without ever asking for money, that one strategy has had the biggest impact on mine and Carol Joy's real estate investing ever since we started back in 2003.
2003, man. So you are a veteran. You are an OG of the game, as they say. And you're 100% right. You and I were talking before the show, and I said, private money, Jay, is one of those skill sets that can make or break a business. If you have access to capital and you know how to raise money specifically without having to ask for it and getting that weird feeling, right? Getting awkward and uncomfortable, which I hear people talk about all the time, then you're never going to starve. Right? You're never going to go broke because you always have capital to do deals. And I can tell you with experience, if you're a wholesaler, fix and flip investor, maybe you're a commercial real estate investor, when you negotiate and you genuinely know that you have capital behind you, right? And you're not like pretending, right? You're not using like a buyer's fund or something like that. You just operate with so much more confidence. And I don't know if you can relate to that or have experienced that, but at least that's been my feeling.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, having access to the capital, think about it. How much more confident is someone going to be in making offers on deals when they've got the money burning a hole in their pocket, ready to go? And Alex, I tell you, I'm going to take a little risk right now. I'm going to take a little risk. There's a teaching, there's a phrase that I have heard by people on the platform that are teaching new real estate investors how to get into this business. And I think you're going to agree with me, but I'm going to take the risk.
Okay.
This teaching, this phrase absolutely drives me crazy. I want to throw up every time I hear it. And here's the phrase. They say, "Oh, just get the deal under contract. The money will show up." You ever heard that? You ever heard that?
Yep, I get it. And it's interesting because I know why people say that, but I can tell you that, there's a saying that a mentor of mine shared with me, Jay, years ago that's always stuck with me, is dig your well before you're thirsty.
Thank you very much.
That is going to be in alignment with, I think, where you're going to take us next. So,
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, for goodness sakes, I just don't want to get a property under contract, and I have no idea where the funding is coming from. Now, if you're a wholesaler and you've got a long buyer's list, you don't know exactly where the money's coming from, but there's your well, right? You dug your well first, you got your contacts. But if you're staying in the deal and you don't know where the funding's coming from, I mean, that's like sort of nerve-wracking and, sort of got things back. But, the worst time to be looking for money, private money for your real estate deals is when you need it for a deal, right? And we're going to dive into, how we go about this without ever having to ask for money. But, the old way, the traditional way to borrow money it's what I did for the first 6 years that we were in business, from 2003 until January 2009. All I knew to do, Alex, is go to the local bank, get on my hands and knees, put my hands underneath my chin, beg, plead, persuade, lift my skirt up so the banker can look at my personal assets and pull my credit score and all that stuff. But, that's one of the first things I had to get straight and turned around 180 degrees in this world of private money. There is no applications. There's no application. You're already approved. The underwriting, we are the underwriter. We underwrite our own deals. We make the rules. We set the interest rate. It's non-negotiable. And people ask me a lot, well, how do I get started raising private money? Well, it's hard to own real estate until you own the real estate between your ears. And that's what you got to get straight first, is that you're not asking, you're not applying, you're actually offering an opportunity is what you're doing.
That's it. Before I kind of have you elaborate on that, if I had a value bomb, like what do they call it in the radio world? Like one of those drops, when you said it's hard to own real estate without first owning the real estate between your ears. So Jay, I've been in this business 20 years. and have interviewed a lot of people. I've never heard anybody say that. And that is an awesome one-liner that, brother, I'm going to totally steal from you. I will give you credit. But I don't know where you heard that. I'll give you the credit, but that's awesome. It's hard to own real estate without first owning the real estate between your ears. Amazing. Love it.
Well, and what do we mean by that? What we mean by that is having the right mindset.
Yes.
Having the right mindset. And yes, confidence is part of that. Nobody's going to loan you money on a deal unless you're confident about it, right? And so, when I say that it turns 180 degrees, so I set the interest rate. So I've been paying my private lenders 8% ever since 2009. I still pay them 8% with no origination fees. And, one question I get in recent times, Alex, is they'll say, Jay, how in the world are you still paying your private lenders 8% when mortgage rates, interest rates have gone out the ceiling? How in the world are you still able to do that? And I said, well, there's two answers to that. Number one, remember, I make the rules. We make the rules. We set it. Number two, you can go down to First Citizens Bank here on Bridges Street in Morehead City, and you can get a certificate of deposit for 4%, 4.5%. It was 5%, 4.5%. Well, 8% is still a whole lot better than 4.5%. So again, that's just an example of how we make the rules by setting the interest rate that we're offering.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love it. Well, I think a good jumping off point for this conversation, because private money, my belief, Jay, and I don't know if you would agree or disagree, is that people tend to overcomplicate it. And I think a good starting point is what you said a couple of minutes ago. You said something along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing, but we're never asking for money. We are providing and or presenting an opportunity. Why don't we start there? Like, you talked about the importance of having the right mindset. I think everybody listening and watching this show understands that. Let's get beyond that point and trust that people have the right mindset about money, and people understand that they are now presenting an opportunity. How do we go about initially broaching the subject, planting a seed, creating and invoking some intrigue and curiosity about this opportunity?
Sure. So here's part of the mindset that you want to have straight. This is all about leading with a servant's heart and educating people. So when I was cut off from the banks back in January 2009, I had to find a way to fund my deals. I learned about private money. I put my program together that I was going to teach people initially in my own connections. So what did I do, Alex? I put on my private money teacher hat, right? Like, and I just started going about teaching people in my own connections and network, people I go to church with, right? Mm-hmm. People in the Rotary Club, people at Business Networking International. And I just started sharing with them what private money is and how they can earn high rates of return safely and securely. Here's a big part of the secret sauce. One mistake that you would not want to make if you're listening to this show. You don't want to be talking about private money to someone in your own connections and talk about a deal you got under contract in that same initial conversation. Agreed. Because you're automatically sounding desperate without even trying to sound desperate. Here's another rider downer for you, Alex. Desperation has got a smell to it.
And it's not a good smell.
It's not a good smell. It's a stinky, nasty smell. And so, another thing that I hear from particularly real estate investors who have not raised capital before, the way we're talking about, and that is, they say, Jay, how do I get over the fear of rejection? Well, let me ask a question in response to that question. How can you be rejected if you're not asking anybody for anything? You're educating them. You can't be rejected, right? So here's another part of the secret sauce. We're going to separate the conversations between teaching, having your teacher hat on, between teaching, and you want to start with your own connections first. Mm-hmm. Between teaching people what private money is, your program that you have, how they can earn high rates of return safely and securely. You're not borrowing unsecured funds, and then having a deal for them to fund. Yeah. So we're first just going to teach. Well, I love starter questions or how do you start conversations? with someone just in your own network. Maybe you're having coffee, maybe you're out for lunch after church or whatever. I love did you know questions. Did you know questions? And so here's one of my favorite did you know questions. I mean, Alex, let's just say that we're out having lunch or whatever. I say, Alex, by the way, did you know there's a way ordinary people, just like you and me, can earn unlimited money per year tax free? Well, most people are not going to know the answer to that question as to how they can do that.
Right.
Well, when they say no, well, my next follow-up question is, have you ever heard of self-directed IRAs? In all probability, they've never heard about that. So now you can talk about what's a self-directed IRA and how people can use their retirement funds to be a private lender, right? So that's just one of my favorite, starter questions. What's another starter a question for that'll lead into private money? I say, Alex, by the way, are you investing in anything these days? And you're either going to tell me yes or no or whatever. And then I'm going to say, well, let me tell you what I'm doing, right? You can talk about your real estate investing, and then you can talk about how your private lenders, there's a seed you just dropped, how your private lenders are getting high rates of return from these lucrative real estate deals that you put together. So you teach first. I mean, I've put on private lender events. Like I've hosted luncheons before. I've raised $969,000 at just one private lender luncheon, not for a deal or not for deals, right? Just a pledge. So once they tell you, man, I like the program, or if they've got retirement funds and they're, not happy with the returns they're getting, well, have a relationship with a self-directed IRA company that you can introduce them to, and they can transfer their funds over. So once they've told you what they got to work with, I mean, you don't even have to ask them, they're going to tell you, right? They're going to tell you automatically without you even asking. So they tell you how much they got to work with. Now, here's another part of the secret sauce. When you've got a deal for them to fund, so in my world, it's single family houses, right? You can raise private money for commercial projects. Most of the time that's syndication, which is another conversation. Everything I do in single family houses is what we call one-offs.
That's right.
One-offs. Like you got a single family house and you got one or maybe two private lenders that are funding that deal. When you're doing one-offs and each private lender has their own promissory note or deed of trust, you're really not in the you're not in the world of the SEC, right? So no worries with the SEC. So when you've got a deal for them to fund, you want to call them up. So Alex, let me say you're one of my private lenders, and let's say that you have told me that you got $150,000 to work with, and it's just investment capital. It's not retirement funds.
Yeah, let's role play it here.
Yeah. So when you say you've got that 150,000, here's exactly what I say to you. I say, Alex, I will put your money to work for you just as soon as possible. So a week or two goes by. I call up Alex. You answer the phone. We have a little chit chat. And then I give you the script. Here's the script. I'm going to give you the exact script of exactly what I say to my private lender when I've got a deal for them to fund. Answer the phone, little chit chat. I call this script the great news phone call.
Okay.
The great news phone call. So Alex answers the phone, chit chat. How's it going? Alex, I have got great news for you. I can now put your money to work. I've got a house under contract in Newport with an after repaired value of $200,000. The funding requires matches up to exactly what you told me you have, which is $150,000. Closing is going to be next Thursday, so you'll need to wire your funds to my real estate attorney's trust account by next Wednesday. I'm going to have my attorney email you the wiring instructions. That's the end of that piece of the conversation. Notice the most stupid question I could ask Alex is, do you want to fund the deal? Well, of course, Alex wants to fund the deal. He's been waiting for the good news phone call, right? And so that's it. Funds are wired. Now, let me just give you another example. So I got a text from one of my private lenders. I'm pulling up my phone right now. I got a text from one of my private lenders recently. And let me just read to you what he says to me. He says, hey, Jay, I hope things are going well. We're still planning on coming to visit you in Carroll Joy in early August. Just wanted to touch base with you to let you know I currently have 120,000 retirement funds available and ready to invest. See you soon. So, got that text. And so I text him back. And here's exactly what I say. I say, hey, and his first name, we sure enjoyed visiting with you all last week. I'm ready to put your funds to work. If it's all right with you, let's just do an easy 120,000 for easy figuring. My office manager will communicate with the self-directed IRA company. We'll communicate with you and get you to sign the direction of investment. We'll be closing next Tuesday. He texts back, perfect, thanks. Had a great time seeing you. That's all. It's just very. You sort of indicated a little something a few minutes ago, Alex. One mistake that I see new new real estate investors or people that are new to raising capital, the mistake they make is they talk too much.
That's right.
They talk too much. It's like, and you're talking too much because maybe you're nervous or you feel like you're having to talk them into the deal or sell the deal. There's no selling of the deal, and here's why. You taught them the program first.
That's right.
They know what your maximum loan to value is, which for me is 75% of the after repaired value. I didn't say 75% of the purchase price, 75% of the after repaired value. That's why I always bring home a check when I buy. Who wants to get paid to buy houses, right? So they already know the program. Well, I'm not going to text or call my private lender and have a deal for them to fund unless it matches the criteria of the program that I already taught them.
Correct.
And so, with this lender, with this little text right here that I just read you, I didn't tell him where the house is located. I didn't tell him what the after repaired value was. After you do a deal or two, all they want to know is how much and when do you need it?
That's right. And Jay, and I know that you'll back me up on this. Here's been my experience with raising private money. When you do what you say you're going to do, you pay them on time based on whatever the terms are, whether it's monthly or whether it's upon the payoff. Like, oftentimes they want that money back into another deal, and or they're going to tell their friends and family, right? And it's like, so doing this business, doing it right, building relationships, again, continuing to just build that trust, that reciprocity, it's going to manifest itself in the future. And it's like a snowball effect. And then this lender will tell this lender. Before you know it, you have a lot of money at your fingertips. And again, it just gives you so much confidence to be able to do deals. And this podcast isn't going to be about the market and what's going to happen in 2025 in the future. But I'm telling you, it is so important to have access to capital. Now is the time that you guys need to be following Jay's system step by step. Here's the beauty of what you just shared. You said it best. It's not selling. You're presenting an opportunity. It's just a conversation. All you're doing is putting on your teacher hat. You're educating them on the process. And then a week, a month later, when you have a deal, you're presenting the opportunity again. That's it.
That's it. And here's what's interesting. So Carol, Joy, and I, we've got 47 private lenders. And you know what? Not one of them ever heard of private money or private lending until I put on my teacher hat. None of them had ever heard of self-directed IRAs. And by the way, establishing a relationship with a self-directed IRA company is so important, because if you don't have that in place that you can introduce a new potential private lender to, you're going to miss out on over half the funding out there. Yeah. And really, these private lenders are not investing in your deals. These private lenders are investing in you. That's what they're doing.
That's right.
Now, of course, the mortgage or deed of trust is very important. They know that their investment or their loan to you is secure. I'm going to name them on the insurance policy as a mortgagee. Give them another layer. I'm going to do a conservative loan to value. I'm looking after these people because they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know, what needs to be done to look after them. But you said it. Trust is at the top of the list.
Yeah, I love it, Jay. Hey there, stop. I promise to get you back to the show, but let me ask you a couple of questions. Are you happy with the money that you're making in your real estate business? Are you generating any cash flow? Are you building wealth? Do you feel like you're making progress, or are you just constantly chasing deals and going after the next transaction and the next transaction? Well, I can tell you from personal experience that there's an easier way, And it's not with single family homes. I believe that self-storage is the best asset class in real estate, hands down, because we're not dealing with tenants, toilets, there's automation, it's a recession-resistant asset class, and it's a business that has the benefits of real estate. If what you're ultimately after is cash flow, building wealth, and time freedom, I want to invite you to just take a few minutes to apply. Go to www.storagewins.com, where you can learn more about our Storage Wins coaching program. And I can help you generate cash flow from your first storage facility within the next 6 to 12 months without needing to use your money or even needing any experience. So head over to www.storagewins.com. And if we like what you have to say, we'll schedule a call, and I look forward to connecting with you. Now back to the show. A quick question. Are you of the school of thought that people should build a credibility package or something that shows case studies of deals? Or are you saying, hey, don't even worry about that at this stage, just build relationships, plant seeds, educate, teach people what you do, but maybe don't even worry about having a quote unquote credibility package or anything to be able to actually show them or send them?
Yeah. So I don't even know what a credibility pack is. I never had one.
There you go.
But I don't want to give a flippant answer. Let's unpack that a little bit. I think you may need a credibility kit of, case studies or deals you've done, maybe for people that don't know you all that well, and the relationship is not, cemented and hasn't been there for a while, However, I've got a lot of private lenders. I've never met them. They've been referred to me by existing private lenders. All of our business has taken place, over the telephone.
Yeah.
I call that a trust bridge. A trust bridge. So when I have a referral coming to me of a new private lender, then what's happening is the relationship that I have with the current lender, that relationship is actually the bridge of trust that then allows me to cross that bridge and do business with that new private lender.
Yeah.
They're not trusting me. They're trusting the person they know and, the story or the experience that they have shared with them.
That's right. Look, Jay, I think this podcast and really any podcast where there's an interview happening is an example of a bridge of trust or a transfer of trust, right? Like I have a relationship with the audience that I've built over the last 8 years, and I have a relationship with you by having you on the show, having you teach the audience. Like inherently, there's a transfer of trust, right? It's no different. And I just wanted to kind of use that as an illustration. So I think one of the biggest takeaways that I'm really hoping people draw from this particular episode is have the right mindset, keep it simple, don't over talk and try to sell the deal because you're not selling the deal, you're presenting an opportunity. If people walk away with just that mindset, I think it could really unlock a lot of potential and opportunity for them as it relates to raising private capital. Because Jay, I've talked to so many investors, I'm sure you have as well, that they get intimidated by the process. They get the butterflies in their stomach. They might wait until they have a deal, then try to sell the deal, and then they feel like they're pressed for time because they don't have the money they need to close the deal. Well, to your point, and what I mentioned earlier, you gotta like dig the well before you're thirsty, and you do that by just putting on the teacher hat, walking them through the process, and not pitching a deal. Like I love that you said, don't hitch the deal wagon to the pitch of the private money, which is not even a pitch. It's just you're teaching them about it, right?
That's right. That's right. So keep that. And look, when you separate those conversations, it takes all the pressure off. There's no pressure on the potential private lender. There's no pressure on you. And let me tell you why there's no pressure on you as the operator. There's more money out there than we can use. I promise you. Yeah. Prior to COVID in 2020, there was $18 trillion in cash in the United States that were just sitting on the sidelines. Here, this side of COVID, 31 trillion in cash, just sitting on the sidelines. And so there's always going to be deals. There's always going to be deals. Get your money lined up first, ready to go. And then you're not going to miss out on a deal for not having the funding. I have not missed out on a deal since 2009 when I started making the rules.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. Jay, I'm going to pop up on the screen for anybody watching this. Guys, Jay, and I'll let him kind of speak to it, but he's hosting a Private Money Challenge. So Jay, you want to take a minute or two and just kind of like invite people, share with them what you have going on with this challenge?
Absolutely. I'm so excited about it. So what I did, I just finished recording it. It's the 7-day Private Money Challenge. And so I've recorded 7 videos. So when you enroll in the challenge, you got the first one right away. You don't have to wait. But each video is only 15 to 20 minutes long, and it breaks down private money just like we've started here on this show. And it'll get you started on raising private money. When you enroll in the Private Money Challenge, you'll immediately in your email inbox, you'll receive the first video. And then the next morning for the next 6 days at 9 a.m. Eastern time, you'll receive each subsequent video. And I promise you, you're going to have a lot of fun engaging with me in these videos. I give you a little bit of homework assignment. One of the videos I do is I actually have you calculate with me exactly how much private money you need to raise. Because I learned along the line, I teach people how to raise private money, but they'll say, well, how much do I really need? Well, we back into it and you actually calculate, well, how much private money do you need to get started? So here's all you do. Go to jayconner.com, JAYCONNER.com. And right there on the landing page at the main website, there's a little blue button and it says join the challenge. So you just click on that little blue button, join the challenge, and boom, there you are. You're inside. We have a lot of fun and you're going to raise private money.
Yeah, I love it. Guys, again, I endorse Jay. I've known him for a number of years. Just again, most importantly, just such a quality dude, just a good person. And he knows what he's talking about. He's been doing this since 2003. Again, I was in a very high level mastermind, some of the top real estate investors in the country for 3-4 years. And when it came to private money, people came to Jay, right? They asked him questions, and the way he teaches this, the way he presents it is you don't have to ask for money. You're just sharing, right? And that's the cool thing about it, is that you can take the pressure off. It doesn't have to be an intimidating or overly complicated process. So I encourage you guys to join the challenge. Head over to jayconner.com. And Jay, this is 100% free, right?
Actually, it's normally $197, but since I just launched it, I've opened it up for only $17.
Love
so
it.
$17 for 7 days or 7 videos.
Brother, that in my brain, that is absolutely free. $17 to learn how to raise private money is that's crazy. That's unbelievable. So guys, absolutely encourage you guys to check it out. And by the way, as kind of like and just off the cuff bonus, if you guys have any questions about private money, reach out to me. I'm happy to assist you. I think you're going to get all the knowledge and resources through Jay's course. But it's all about relationships, right? Continue to go out there, build relationships, plant seeds with people, present opportunities, dig your well before you're thirsty. And again, don't overcomplicate this. So Jay, man, I absolutely love what you're doing, brother. Thank you for all the knowledge and the resources. Thank you for opening up and sharing this podcast, which was 100% free. If people just implemented what you taught them here, it's going to unlock the opportunity to raise a lot of money. And by the way, help a lot of people who are earning less than 1%. If they're lucky and it's in a high yield savings account, they might be getting 3-4%. You can easily double that for them, and it's secured by the real estate. So it's a win-win all the way around. So Jay, I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for all that you do, man. I'm super grateful for our relationship. And guys, thank you for supporting the show. Make sure that you are subscribed to the Flip Empire Show. So every single Monday morning, you're notified when new shows get released. And the biggest way you can thank us is by going out and taking action. Implement what Jay has taught you here. Pick up the phone, have a conversation, and present opportunities. That's what it's about. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great one. All right, my friend, I hope you enjoyed that Flip Empire episode and got a lot of value out of it. Make sure to check the show notes page for any resources that were mentioned. And speaking of resources, honestly, I don't think I've done the best job of sharing with you my top curated, highly recommended tools and resources that I use in my business or have used in my business. In some cases, these are affiliate relationships with people that I highly trust and respect. And I know these tools and resources can help you and your business go to the next level. And as an ethical bribe, if you decide to try out one of these resources using my link, I will go ahead and send you an unadvertised bonus. I'll send you something of high value. All you got to do is shoot me an email, alex@flipempire.com. Go ahead and let me know that you tried out this resource, and however I can help you getting started with that, chances are that I know it very, very well and currently use it or have used it. So make sure to check that out, flipempire.com/resources. And if I can be of help or service to you in any way, just shoot me an email, alex@flipempire.com, and I will do anything I can for you. Have an amazing day, and I'll catch you on the next show.
Are you feeling inspired by the knowledge you gained in this episode? Then head over to jconner.com/moneyguide. That's jconner.com/moneyguide and download your free guide that shares 7 reasons why private money will skyrocket your real estate investing business right now. Again, that's jconner.com/moneyguide to get your free guide. We'll see you next time on Raising Private Money with Jay Conner.